Hello everyone, in this video I'm gonna explain you how the rules changed from the 2012 rules, the one that we used at Youth Tournament and the World Championships in 2012 in Tampa in the USA, with the rules that we will use in Hong Kong in 2014 for the Worlds and the Youth Tournament. The first big change is the fact that we used to have a youth tournament 12 to 14, 15 to 17, 18 plus, and also of course the World Championship. In 2014 there will be a change. It will not be a youth tournament for 12-14, but the official name will be World Youth Tournament, but the age division will stay the same. Next to that we will have what we would call the International Open Tournament for 15 plus. So we will not have something called Youth Tournament for 15-17 or Youth Tournament for 18 plus. No, it will be just one championship called the International Open Tournament, and it is, as you can see, for the 15 plus. So we do not have a specific age division 15 to 17 or 18 plus anymore. The World Championship is still 15 plus, but we added an extra line because we see that some countries have problems making teams with only people 15 years or older. So we said that for teams we can have one exception. So normally the skipper has to be born in 1999, but an exception of one person of a team per country being born in 2000, so only 1 year younger, can still compete in this championship. This exception has to be submitted to the FISAC board by January 1st, 2014, and then the board will decide by mid-January whether it is accepted or not. That is the first change. The second change concerns the World Cup. We used to have a minimum of 8 skippers and a maximum of 24. This changed into still a minimum of 8 skippers but a maximum of only 16. In 2012, when we were looking at the mistakes that they make in the World Cup demonstrations, then the definition was exactly the same as in team, as in masters. Now there is a slight change. A major mistake is a mistake in which at least half of the active team is involved. So the active team, if you have 16 skippers in your team but only 8 are active at that point, if 4 or more of those 8 people make a mistake, then one will have a major mistake. So this can be 2 4 wheels and one of the 4 wheels makes a mistake. So it basically means that all of a sudden 4 persons cannot do anything anymore, which is half of the active team. Also, another way to get to a major mistake is any mistake that is made which would last longer than 4 seconds if you would want to continue. So if you'd have a Chinese wheel mistake, for instance, with only 2 people and 10 skippers are active at that time, one would normally say it's a minor mistake. But if you would need more than 4 seconds to straighten up all the ropes and to start again, then it would become a major mistake. This does not mean that one starts again. It's possible that they see, oh, these ropes are so entangled, we're not gonna continue with this element and we're just gonna go to the next part. Then you as a judge should just think, if they would want to continue, then it would have taken them at least 4 seconds to be ready again to start again and to continue. All the other mistakes are considered minor mistakes. The next change we had in the teams, the single rope speed and double under relay. So we had 2 people doing the single rope speeds and followed by number 3 and 4 doing double unders. Now we will only have single rope speed, so there will be no more double unders. Number 1, 2, 3 and 4, they will all do speed 30 seconds, none of them will do double under. When the speed event begins, it used to be judges ready, skippers ready, and then you have a beep, and then at the end you have stop. To make it more correct and to be more accurate, we will still start, of course, with the beep, but also at the end we will have a beep. The beginning of the beep that you have at the end of the speed is really the end of the speed event. So when you hear the beep, then it stops, then you should stop counting and not at the end of the word beep. Timing used to start with the first arm or rope movement or as soon as the first note of the music start. We just changed the word note into sound of the music start. It doesn't necessarily have to be a note, of course. But we added an extra line. If the music does not start immediately after the call out, it sometimes happens that we have a technical problem, one is allowed not to start and ask for a recall. So if it takes at least 5 seconds before the music starts, probably the skipper or the skippers that are on the field, they are not really concentrated anymore, so they can give a signal, a clear signal saying, oh, I would like to go off the field, or I'm not gonna start if the music starts all of a sudden. And then we will probably first check the music again, and then they can go on the field again and still do their routine, of course. But once they decided to start jumping, of course, this rule is cannot be used anymore, of course. In the double Dutch relay speed and also in the double Dutch pair speed, the jumpers, when they are jumping inside ropes, they have to face a certain direction. And we said in the past that if you do not face the right direction, you just don't get credit for these jumps. Now we're gonna be a little bit more severe. We say that if a skipper does not face the correct turner, the team is disqualified from this event. Of course, only when the skipper is really skipping in the ropes, of course. Then the team will be disqualified. Next change, difficulty single rope. We used to have skills that can go from level 1 up to level 5. So the most difficult skills were level 5, and for each level 5 skill you would get in the Masters 3.5 points. With a maximum of 100. Now we will introduce a level 6 skill, so basically more difficult than the level 5 skills. And for the level 5 skills you only get 3 points. For the level 6 skills you will get 4.5 points. With still the same idea that it's still possible to get a maximum score of 100 with only doing level 5 skills. So we're not saying you have to do level 6 skills, but you don't have to do as many level 6 skills to get to the maximum points as you have to do level 5 skills. So just to be clear, you do not have to do level 6 skills to get a perfect score for difficulty. But of course you have to do less of those level 6 skills, because for each of them you get 4.5 points. How to make a jump which is a level 6? You just have to follow the rules as they are. For instance, if you do a backwards TS switch in the skill list, you will see that this is a level 5, it stays a level 5. How to make it into a level 6 if you do it in a double under. So if you would do a backwards TS switch in a double under, so you make the switch while you're in the air, then this would of course be a level 6, because you do a level 5 in a double under, which is 1 level for the double and 5 levels for the fact that you do a level 5 while you're in the air. 1 plus 5 becomes 6. Another example, a TJ triple is a level 4. A TJ triple falling into a split, you will later on see that that's a level 5. If you would do a quadruple TJ falling into a split, that would of course be a level 6. So in principle the ideas all stay the same, but you just have to make the skills more difficult to come to a level 6. Also in the teams we changed this, so also in teams you can have a level 6 skill. In teams you had you got credit for a level 5 skill, you only got 4 points for a level 5 skill. We also made this smaller, we went to 3.5, so also for teams it's gonna be harder to get to the maximum score. And also in a team, as I just mentioned, you can also do a level 6 skill and you will get 3.5 times 1.5 points for each level 6 skill that you do. Same as in the Masters, you do not have to do the level 6 skills, but it's you have to do less level 6 skills to come to the maximum score of 100. Next one, presentation single rope. It used to be 35% for presentation single rope and 15% for the required elements. Now it will be 10% for the required elements and 40% for the presentation. Those 5 extra percents goes into form of the body and execution. So the idea of form of the body and execution is the same, but you just get twice as much. It's worth twice as much. It's twice as important as it was. In double dutch we still stick to the level 5. There is no level 6 in difficulty double dutch, but we changed also the amount of points that you get for a level 5 skill. It used to be 4, now it will only be 3. Next one, basically the same thing as we, more or less the same thing as we did in the single rope presentation. Also in the double dutch presentation we went from 35% for the presentation and 15% for the required elements to 40% for the presentation and 10% for the required elements. And you see that we go from 5% for form of the body, rope, execution and so on to 7.5% for this topic, and then for impression, the entertainment value and so on, it used to be 7.5% and now it will be 10%. The next one is pretty tricky to explain. It's the ranking for masters, also for teams. We used to say that we just added the ranking scores of the speed 30 seconds plus the ranking score of the 3 minutes plus the ranking score of the difficulty of your routine plus the ranking score of the creativity, and all this together we just look at how much points you get, and from that number we derive who is the winner. This will change a little bit. We will still take the 30 seconds ranking and the 3 minutes ranking, but we will add the freestyle in a different way. We first determine what is your ranking of the difficulty. For instance, it's 3, you have the third most difficult freestyle, and also for the creativity, let's say it's 5. Then we add the 3 plus 5, which is 8. We do the same for all the other skippers that did the freestyle. Maybe another skipper had 1 plus 3 and another one has 2 plus 4. So the first one had 1 plus 3 is 4 as total, and the other one 2 plus 4 is 6. And then the example that we had was 3 plus 5 is 8. So then we look at these combined numbers, so the 4, the 6 and the 8. So the person who has 8 had the third best freestyle and will get 3 ranking points for it. And so in order to determine who is the overall winner of the Masters, we take the ranking score of the 30 seconds plus the ranking score of the 3 minutes plus 2 times the ranking score, this 3 for this one person that I just mentioned. So the idea stays the same, that the freestyle is as important as the speed events together, but the way how to determine what is the ranking that you will get for the freestyle is a little bit different. Same for the teams, the idea stays exactly the same. That's also for freestyles. The way of giving ranking points to the freestyle of a team is a little bit different than before, but in exactly the same way as it is for the Masters. Then we have some very specific changes. All T-crosses used to be a level 3, this is now also a level 2. The same thing as a Toad and a Kruger and so on. The T-crosses are also level 2. Some crosses are very difficult to jump out of. We have the caboose cross, the inverse T-toad and the T-toad. We just wanted to emphasize once more that you have to jump out of these skills and not just go out of it. And also the exit from these use skills, we change it into really the jump out of these skills is credited as a level 3. Just to emphasize one more time that you really have to jump out of those skills. Then just some small changes, things that we already did, but it was not really specifically written down in the rule book. A double under is a level 1, triple under is a level 2, quadruple is a level 3, and then we just added and so on, because we wanted to say that if you do a quintuple you will also already get 4 levels and so on and so on. Same thing when you're doing a multiple and you are able to do a level 2 while you're in the air, you get 2 extra levels. A level 3 you get 3 extra levels. We did exactly the same thing, we just said and so on. If you do a level 4 skill while you're in the air, you get 4 extra levels. If you do a level 5 skill, you get 5 extra levels and so on. So also here the explanation that I gave for the TSTS backwards in double under, we just say it's a double under, so you already get 1 level, and you do a TSTS backwards, which is a level 5 while you're in the air, so that's 1 plus 5 gives you 6. Also a small change in the multiples. We used to say that when you're doing multiples, you already get 1, 2, 3 or 4 levels, depending on how fast you turn basically. You get 1 level for the double, 2 levels for the triple and so on. And then we said you are probably able to do something while you're doing the multiple or at the end of the multiple, and then you get credit for that. You can do a crisscross in the multiple, you can really complete a certain skill in a multiple, like for instance a toad or a TS, or you can also at the end of the multiple land in a certain skill, land in a TS or land in an AS. We used to say that you have to choose. If you determine what is the level of a certain skill that you do, then you have to say, or we give credit for the cross, or we give credit for the completion of the skill, or we give credit for landing in a skill. And you just look at what gives the highest level, and most of the times it's the completion of the skill, and that is the level that you will give to this skill. So if you would do, for instance, a TJ triple landing in an AS, then this would still be this was a level 4. This, by the way, will still be a level 4. There is no cross in it, so there is no problem, but you're landing in an AS, so that would be +1, but you're also doing a toad while you're in the air, that's +2, so the triple is 2 levels, +2 the completion of the skill, and not the +1 landing in the skill, so that makes 4. We changed this just a little bit, because now we're gonna say if you want to do a cross and also completion and or also landing, then you will get credit for this as well. So if you do a cross and completion of the skill, you will get credit for the cross and the completion of the skill. Or if you want to do a cross and landing in a skill, it doesn't matter, or maybe you want to do all of them, you get credit for everything that you do, but -1. So if you're doing, for instance, in a quadruple under, it's possible to do a crisscross and a toad and landing in an AS. For instance, a quadruple where you do side swing, cross, toad, and then going to an AS, landing in an AS. Then it would be a level 3 for the fact that you're doing a quadruple. You will get 1 extra level for the cross, so that's already level 4. Completion of the toad, that's 2 extra levels, that would make it level 6, and you're also landing in an AS, that would be a level 7. But because you're adding up different things, the rule says that we have to do all of that -1, so 7 -1 is 6. So doing a quadruple, side swing, cross, toad, open and landing in AS would indeed be a level 6. Small changes on the powers. We used to say that you get 2 extra levels if you're going to a push-up, frog, crab and so on. We changed this into 1 level. So basically everything goes down with 1 level. 2 extra levels is added if going immediately to an inverted position of the body. This used to be 3 levels. I noticed that there is a small mistake in the rules book, because it says that AS into frog is level 5. This is only level 4. This is something that we forgot to change. We used to say that 3 levels are added for going into a one-handed push-up, frog and so on. Also here it's only 2 levels, so 1 level less that you will get. As I mentioned before, the required elements goes from 15% to 10%. In single rope, we used to have this whole list of things that you had to do, a lot of crosses, a lot of multiples, gymnastics and so on. We still have the required elements, but you have to do a lot less. Instead of 4 clearly separated set of different crosses, you only have to do 2 of them. We defined what it is, a separated set. You have to do at least 3 skills in between. That is not a series of crosses. So if you do a cross combination and then you do, for instance, a round of a toad and a front flip, for instance, and then you do another set of 4 crosses, then that is perfect. And you will get credit for the first and the last one of these cross combinations. Instead of 4 sets of multiples, you only have to do 2 sets of multiples. Instead of 4 gymnastics, you only have to do 2. Instead of 6 different powers, you only have to do 2 different powers. But a very important note there, going into and coming out is not considered as 2 power skills. While in 2012, this was, if you did, for instance, a double under push-up and then going out of, and you came out of the push-up, then this would have been already 2 powers. Now this is only 1 power. You had to do 3 times 4 skills backwards, now it's only 2 times. You had to do 3 releases and one of them had to be a difficult one. Now we just say you have to do 2 releases. There is no restriction on whether it's easy or it's difficult. And in the pair freestyle and the team freestyle, you have to do pairs interaction, and you have to do 2 clearly separated sets of pairs interaction instead of 5 different pairs interaction. So we say 2 clearly separated, the same idea, at least 3 skills in between that are not pairs interaction. For the double dutch, it's similar. We went also from the 15% to the 10%. We still want you to do 2 power skill series of at least 4 power skills. Only 2 gymnastic skills. We do not want, you are allowed to do 4, but you don't have to do 4 gymnastic skills, and you do not have to do one that is an aerial, so just 2 gymnastic skills. And you have to do, that is new, 4 speed changes. Speed changes can be fancy feet, this is 1 speed change, or can be multiples, and multiples can just be a double under, or if you do a double under in the beginning and also a double under later on, then that is also a speed change, or maybe a triple under or quadruple under, doesn't matter. All these kind of things, these are all speed changes, so you have to do at least 4 of them to get the full credit for your required elements. So that is in short the changes that we made from 2012-2014. Do not hesitate to contact me if you have any more questions. I can imagine that it's not so easy to really see what are all the consequences. I can imagine that you have a lot of questions on the level 6 skills, which are the typical level 6 skills that we will see, and so on. So again, don't hesitate to contact me at the usual email address himpe_peter@hotmail.com, HIMPE_PIETER@hotmail.com. That's it for now.